Stop what you're doing, because what you are about to learn will change the way people treat you for the rest of your life. You are going to learn the psychology Machiavelli believed only a rare kind of person ever masters. The psychology that makes people respect you quietly, not through force, not through intimidation, not through loudness, but through silent, unshakable authority, through presence, through discipline, through an energy that speaks before you do. And this is important because most people today misunderstand respect. They think respect comes from being nice, being agreeable, being kind, being friendly, being available. But Machiavelli observed something completely different. He saw that people respect what they fear to lose. They respect what they cannot easily read. They respect what they cannot easily control. They respect what they cannot predict. They respect what forces them to adjust their own behavior. And he realized a harsh truth that society still hides today. People do not respect those who seek respect. They respect those who carry themselves like they do not need it. They respect those who move with quiet confidence, those who do not chase attention, those who do not beg for approval, those who do not over-explain their choices, those who do not collapse under emotional pressure, those who hold themselves with a controlled power that others feel but cannot fully understand. This is why you must learn these ruthless tricks, because these tricks are not loud. They are not dramatic, they are not cruel, they are barely visible, but they are psychologically devastating. They shift power silently. They reshape the dynamic before a single word is spoken. They make people adjust to you. They make people think twice before disrespecting you. They make people second-guess their tone when they speak to you. They make people evaluate your value before they take you for granted. They make people see you differently. And the first ruthless trick is this: you must master the art of quiet presence. Quiet presence is not about being shy. It is not about being reserved. It is not about hiding. Quiet presence is the ability to walk into a room and allow your stillness to speak louder than other people's noise. When you speak less, people watch you more. When you move slowly, people pay attention. When you observe, people feel exposed. When you wait before responding, people reveal their insecurities. Quiet presence makes people curious, and curiosity creates respect. Because when people do not fully understand you, they fill the gaps with power. Machiavelli knew that mystery is a form of dominance, and mystery is created through intentional silence. The second ruthless trick is emotional stillness. Emotional stillness means that no matter who tries to provoke you, you do not break. You do not raise your voice. You do not react instantly. You do not show your trigger points. Because the moment someone knows how to upset you, they begin to control you. And the moment someone knows how to control your emotions, they no longer respect you. They only use you. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must be able to stay calm in situations that make others panic, because calmness in chaos is a form of superiority, and emotional stillness is rare, which is exactly why it commands respect. The third ruthless trick is slow speech. Not weak speech, not hesitant speech, slow speech. When you speak slowly, people assume you are confident. They assume you are in control. They assume you are thinking deeply. They assume you are not afraid, and they adjust to your pace. Fast speech is emotional. Slow speech is powerful. Machiavelli noticed that rulers who spoke slowly appeared stronger, more dangerous, more stable, more respected, because speaking slowly forces others to wait. And making people wait is a subtle form of power. The fourth ruthless trick is strategic eye contact, not staring, not glaring, but holding eye contact for 1 second longer than the other person expects. Just 1 second. That 1 second creates tension, and tension creates authority. People who look away quickly appear uncertain, unsteady, weak. People who maintain controlled eye contact appear grounded, confident, dominant. This is why Machiavelli believed that a leader's gaze must be firm. Because the eyes reveal fear faster than the voice. The fifth ruthless trick is controlled boundaries, not explained boundaries, not emotional boundaries, controlled boundaries, boundaries that exist without speeches, without warnings, without discussion, boundaries that are simply enforced. When someone crosses a line, you do not argue, you do not negotiate, you do not over-explain, you simply act, you remove access, you change your tone, you alter the dynamic. Quiet enforcement earns more respect than loud confrontation. Machiavelli noted that rulers who punished inconsistently were hated, but rulers who enforced boundaries calmly and consistently were respected. And now that you understand these first 5 tricks, something important must be said. Respect is not created by a single action. Respect is created by a pattern of energy you carry, a pattern of behavior, a pattern of self-control. And everything you learn next will build on this foundation, because the next tricks are even more subtle, even more powerful, even more psychologically sharp. And if you master them, you will become someone people naturally respect, someone people cannot ignore, someone people adjust themselves for, someone whose quiet power becomes undeniable. And now that the foundation is set, you are ready for the next ruthless tricks. These are the tricks that quietly increase your value in people's minds. Tricks that make them see you as someone they cannot afford to disrespect, someone they cannot afford to lose, someone they cannot easily read or control. The 6th ruthless trick is selective availability. Most people make themselves too accessible. They answer instantly. They are always ready to help. They show up the moment someone calls, and because they are constantly available, people subconsciously devalue them. Availability lowers perceived importance. Machiavelli understood that value rises when access decreases. When you are selective with your time, when you do not reply instantly, when you take your time to respond, when you choose when to engage instead of being pulled into every conversation, people assume your time is valuable. They assume you have higher priorities. They assume you operate on your own schedule, and all of this creates respect, because respect grows where scarcity exists. The 7th ruthless trick is low emotional reaction. Not emotional suppression, not emotional coldness, low emotional reaction. When someone tests you, you do not react instantly. When someone insults you, you do not respond immediately. When someone tries to provoke you, you stay still. Because emotional stillness exposes the other person. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to reveal their intentions. It makes them question their own behavior. Machiavelli believed that the person who reveals emotion first loses the power dynamic. And he was right. The quieter you are emotionally, the more powerful you appear socially. The 8th ruthless trick is controlled posture. Your posture speaks before your voice does. A straight spine, relaxed shoulders, slow breathing, stillness. This is the posture of someone who is grounded, someone who is not easily shaken, someone who does not fear conflict, someone who does not need to prove themselves, someone who carries internal authority. Machiavelli noted that the strongest rulers did not look tense. They looked stable, comfortably powerful, and posture was one of their greatest silent weapons. The 9th ruthless trick is the power of not interrupting. Interrupting is emotional behavior. It shows insecurity. It shows impatience. It shows a desire to dominate through noise. But when you let people finish speaking, even when you disagree, you create psychological tension, because people expect interruption, they expect resistance, they expect defensiveness. But when they get silence instead, they reveal more. They expose contradictions. They talk themselves into corners. They show their insecurity, and you gain more information by speaking less. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who listens learns more than the ruler who speaks, and people respect those who listen with stillness. The 10th ruthless trick is calm detachment. Calm detachment means you observe people without absorbing their emotions. You hear their words without letting them pierce your identity. You witness their anger without mirroring it. You watch their actions without taking them personally. This detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It prevents manipulation. It prevents emotional hijacking. It prevents chaos from entering your mind. Machiavelli believed that the person who fails to detach becomes a slave to outside forces, but the person who can detach stays in control, and control is respect. The 11th ruthless trick is speaking only when necessary. This is one of the most powerful tools Machiavelli ever taught. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. People listen more closely. They evaluate your sentences more seriously. They assume you think deeply. They assume your silence means you are analyzing. They assume your calmness means confidence. And they begin adjusting their energy around you. The world is full of noise, but the quiet voice stands out. The quiet voice demands attention. The quiet voice creates tension. The quiet voice implies strength. Machiavelli wrote that people reveal more through silence than they ever will through speech. And by mastering the art of saying less, you create an aura that naturally commands respect. The 12th ruthless trick is uncompromising standards. Standards without explanation. Standards without apology. Standards that you enforce through action. When you have standards that do not shake, people begin to respect you automatically. They see you as someone with discipline, someone with structure, someone with identity, someone with integrity. And the moment people know you do not lower your standards for anyone, they raise their behavior around you. Machiavelli wrote that when a ruler was strict with himself, his influence doubled. Because self-discipline creates perceived superiority, and perceived superiority creates respect. The 13th ruthless trick is emotional patience. Emotional patience is waiting before reacting, waiting before deciding, waiting before responding, waiting before judging. People who lack patience reveal their desperation, their confusion, their insecurity, but patient people appear powerful, they appear calculated, they appear wise. Machiavelli believed that the person who reacts last wins the psychological battle, because reacting last means observing everything first, and observation is the root of strategy. The 14th ruthless trick is the power of absence, not ghosting, not disappearing emotionally, but intentional absence. When you pull back slightly, people reflect. They evaluate their behavior, they notice your value, they feel the shift in energy, and this makes them respect you more. Machiavelli understood that absence increases value when your presence was never desperate. Your silence becomes loud. Your distance becomes felt. Your presence becomes appreciated. And the 15th ruthless trick is the ability to stay calm when someone disrespects you. Not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough not to give them what they want. Disrespect is often bait, a psychological trap, a tactic to get a reaction. But when your calmness remains unbroken, the person who tried to disrespect you ends up respecting you more, because you showed them that their attempt failed. And failure makes people fear repeating the behavior. And now that you have these 15 ruthless tricks, your transformation is far from over. Because the next stage is understanding how to combine these tricks in real situations, where silence becomes your power, presence becomes your armor, and calmness becomes your psychological weapon. And now that you understand the 15 ruthless tricks individually, you must learn how they work together, because real power does not come from using one trick. It comes from combining them in a way that makes your presence impossible to ignore. Machiavelli believed that respect is not something you demand. It is something you engineer. You engineer it through patterns, not moments, through consistency, not performance, through silence, not noise. And when these 15 tricks merge, something powerful begins to happen. People start adjusting themselves without you asking. They start being more polite, more cautious, more thoughtful, more respectful. They begin choosing their words carefully. They begin controlling their tone around you. They begin watching your reactions because they cannot predict them. They become aware of your presence in every interaction, and that awareness itself is a form of quiet dominance. But respect built through these tricks requires something else. You must understand the psychology behind how people form power hierarchies. Machiavelli observed that humans instinctively evaluate who they can push and who they cannot, who they can challenge and who they must respect, who they can manipulate and who they must treat carefully. And they do this instinctively, subconsciously, automatically, without thinking. They test people in small ways. They test your reactions. They test your boundaries. They test your confidence. They test your silence. They test your emotional stability. And every reaction you give teaches them your place in their mental hierarchy. If you react emotionally, they place you below them. If you over-explain yourself, they place you below them. If you chase approval, they place you below them. If you break your boundaries, they place you below them. And once someone places you below them, it is extremely difficult to climb back up. But when you use these 15 tricks consistently, the opposite happens. The moment someone tries to test you and you remain calm, you rise in their hierarchy. The moment someone disrespects you and you enforce a boundary calmly, you rise higher. The moment someone pushes you and you do not react emotionally, you rise again. The moment someone tries to read you but cannot decode you, your perceived power increases. And respect grows with every quiet demonstration of strength. That is why Machiavelli insisted that the strongest leaders were not the loudest. They were the ones who could hold their position without verbal battles, because verbal battles lower you. Silence elevates you. Chaos lowers you. Stillness elevates you. Neediness lowers you. Detachment elevates you. And the people around you respond to these signals even if they do not consciously understand why. This is where we enter the deeper psychology of quiet respect. Quiet respect is built on one principle. People do not respect what is emotionally accessible. They respect what is emotionally selective. When you do not reveal everything you feel, when you do not share everything you think, when you do not react to everything that happens, when you do not break yourself to make others comfortable, you become psychologically higher in status, and high status automatically creates respect. Machiavelli knew that the rarity of something increases its value, and emotional rarity is one of the most valuable forms of rarity. This is why you must never reveal your emotional vulnerabilities too quickly. People value what is protected. They disrespect what is too open. People value what is slow to respond. They disrespect what responds instantly. People value what is selective with attention. They disrespect what seeks attention. People value what holds boundaries with quiet firmness. They disrespect what argues for boundaries. People value what they cannot fully understand. They disrespect what is predictable, and quiet respect grows in this tension. The tension of uncertainty, the tension of calmness, the tension of silence, the tension of being unreadable, the tension of not needing others emotionally. This tension is not negative, it is psychological authority, and this authority forces people to treat you differently. But to maintain this authority long-term, you must adopt one of Machiavelli's most strategic principles. You must always appear composed, even when you are not. Composure is a performance that becomes a habit that becomes your identity, and identity shapes power. When people see that you do not crack under pressure, they subconsciously assume you are stronger than them. When they see you do not panic in stressful moments, they assume you have something they lack. When they see you do not get emotional in conflict, they assume you have internal stability. And internal stability is deeply respected because it is deeply rare. Machiavelli noticed that the strongest leaders were the ones who remained calm publicly even if they were unsure privately, because people respect those who appear certain, those who appear grounded, those who appear stable, and your appearance becomes your reputation, and your reputation becomes your shield, and your shield becomes your power. And this brings you to the next layer of quiet respect. Your energy must remain consistent. Respect does not come from occasional displays of strength. Respect comes from continuous displays of stability. You cannot be calm one day and emotional the next. You cannot be mysterious one day and overly transparent the next. You cannot be selective one day and desperate the next. These inconsistencies shatter your psychological presence. Because people do not respect unpredictability when it comes from emotional chaos. They respect unpredictability when it comes from emotional control. Emotional control means people cannot shake you. Emotional chaos means people can. And the moment someone realizes they can shake you, you lose the power dynamic. That is why Machiavelli believed that self-control is the ultimate weapon, not intelligence, not charm, not strength, but internal control. And now that you understand this deeper layer, the next part of your transformation will reveal how to project this internal control outward. How to walk into a room and instantly shift the energy. How to make people feel your presence before you speak. How to create silent authority without effort. And how to make people respect you without ever asking for it. And now that you understand how internal control creates the foundation of quiet respect, you must learn how to project that control outward, because respect is not only built through what you feel on the inside. It is built through what people sense from the outside. Machiavelli understood that humans respond to energy before they respond to words. They respond to the way you enter a room, the way you stand, the way you make eye contact, the way you hold your silence, the way you respond to pressure, the way you listen, the way you breathe. And all of these cues create psychological signals that tell people whether you are someone they should respect or someone they can disregard. So the next stage in mastering quiet respect is shaping the energy you bring into every interaction. And this begins with the first projection principle. You must enter every space with deliberate calmness, not stiffness, not arrogance, calmness. Calmness is the strongest nonverbal signal of internal strength. When you enter slowly instead of rushing, when you stand still instead of fidgeting, when your posture is upright instead of collapsed, when your breathing is controlled instead of shaky, when your face is relaxed instead of tense, people sense something powerful. They sense you are not looking for approval. They sense you are not anxious. They sense you are not trying to impress them. They sense you are grounded within yourself. And humans instinctively respect those who appear grounded because grounded people cannot be easily moved mentally or emotionally. Machiavelli believed that a stable appearance was half the battle of influence. The second projection principle is intentional silence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is tension, and tension creates psychological weight. When you speak less, people feel more around you. They become more aware of your presence. They become more careful with their words. They try harder to read you. They fill your silence with their own assumptions. And those assumptions almost always elevate your perceived strength. But you must use silence strategically. Not passive silence, not awkward silence, strategic silence. The silence of someone who is in no hurry, the silence of someone who listens more than they speak, the silence of someone who wants information, not attention. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He wrote that a wise person should observe before acting and listen before speaking. Silence is the space where people reveal their intentions. The third projection principle is economical movement. People who move too much display nervousness. People who fidget too often display insecurity. People who react too quickly display emotional volatility, but people who move with purpose project control. Their gestures are deliberate, their actions are precise, their reactions are slow. And slow reactions signal emotional power. When someone insults you and you do not flinch. When someone pressures you and you do not rush. When someone panics and you do not mirror their panic. People begin treating you like a stable center of gravity, and people respect those who stay stable when everything else becomes unstable. The fourth projection principle is minimalist expression. Overexpression reveals insecurity. Subtle expression reveals control. The more someone can read your face, the easier it is to manipulate you. The more someone can guess your feelings, the easier it is to provoke you. Machiavelli believed that a leader should never reveal their emotional state openly. He believed emotional privacy was a shield, and minimalist expression creates that shield. You show small shifts, not dramatic reactions. You remain composed when others expect intensity. You maintain your emotional privacy, and this privacy creates psychological elevation. The fifth projection principle is the energy of selective engagement. You do not engage with everyone. You do not laugh at everything. You do not respond to every comment. You do not participate in every conversation. You choose selectively, and selection implies value. When people notice you are selective with your attention, they assume your attention is valuable. When they notice you do not smile at everything, they assume your smile must be earned. When they notice you do not entertain every person, they assume you choose based on high standards. And humans always respect what feels scarce. Machiavelli wrote that rulers gained influence by controlling who they interacted with and when. And this same rule applies socially today. If you engage with everyone equally, you become predictable. If you engage selectively, you become powerful. The sixth projection principle is measured speech. Not monotone, not robotic, measured, calm speed, clear sentences, intentional pauses. Speaking in a measured tone makes your words feel heavier. It makes people wait for your point. It makes them listen more carefully. And listening is the first sign of respect. But here is where the deeper psychological trick lies. When you speak less, people remember more because rarity creates importance, and importance creates gravity. The seventh projection principle is invisible self-assurance. Self-assurance is not loud, it is quiet. It is not shown through bragging. It is shown through not needing to prove anything. It is not shown through domination. It is shown through confidence in your decisions. You walk into a room with the internal belief that you belong anywhere you choose to be. You speak with the internal belief that your words have weight. You move with the internal belief that you have nothing to prove. People feel this. They sense it. And sensing confidence is more powerful than hearing it. Machiavelli observed that true power was never advertised. It was recognized. And recognition begins with how you carry yourself. The eighth projection principle is selective emotional investment. You do not give your emotional energy freely. You do not care deeply about people who do not care deeply about you. You do not prioritize those who do not value you. You do not react emotionally to those who try to provoke you. You invest slowly, carefully, strictly, and people respect those who protect their emotional energy. The ninth projection principle is stable detachment. Stable detachment is the ability to remain centered even when people around you are unstable. When someone tries to provoke you and you do not engage. When someone tries to pull you into drama and you refuse. When someone tries to guilt you and you remain calm. When someone tries to emotionally manipulate you and you do not react. People begin to understand that you cannot be controlled, and respect is always tied to what cannot be controlled. And now that you understand how to project quiet authority, the next stage of your transformation begins. Because respect is not only built through internal control and external projection. It is built through how you handle conflict, pressure, and betrayal. And learning how to navigate those moments with Machiavellian precision is what separates the quietly respected from the quietly feared. And now that you understand how to project quiet authority, you must learn how to handle conflict, pressure, and betrayal in a way that strengthens your reputation instead of weakening it. Because respect is not truly tested when everything is calm. Respect is tested when people challenge you, when people disrespect you, when people underestimate you, when people try to pull you into emotional traps. Machiavelli believed that conflict is the moment when true hierarchy is revealed. Not through shouting, not through aggression, but through emotional control, through the way you respond when someone pushes you, through the way you carry yourself when someone tries to humiliate you, through the way you handle pressure when everyone else panics. So the next stage of becoming someone people respect quietly is mastering the art of conflict without chaos. And this begins with the first conflict principle. You must never match the emotional intensity of someone who is trying to provoke you. When someone is loud, you become quieter. When someone rushes, you slow down. When someone pushes, you remain still. When someone insults you, you speak with calm precision. This reversal of emotional energy is one of the most psychologically dominant things you can do, because people expect fire, They expect escalation. They expect emotional reaction. But when you stay calm, the contrast exposes their weakness and magnifies your strength. Machiavelli believed that the person who controls the tone of the situation controls the situation, and calmness is tone control. The second conflict principle is never explaining yourself in moments of tension. Explanation is emotional surrender. It shows insecurity, it shows desperation, it shows fear. When someone challenges you and you immediately start explaining, you hand them the power. But when you respond with short, calm statements delivered at your pace, the power returns to you. You do not justify, you do not convince, you do not overtalk, you hold your position. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must appear certain even when uncertain, because certainty calms followers and intimidates opponents, and certainty is shown through brevity. The third conflict principle is letting silence do the work. In heated moments, silence is not avoidance. Silence is strategy. Silence forces the other person to fill the tension. Silence makes them reveal their motives. Silence makes them nervous. Silence makes them question themselves. Silence makes them over-explain. Machiavelli believed that people destroy their own positions more effectively than any opponent ever could, and silence gives them the space to expose their weaknesses. The fourth conflict principle is the ability to withdraw without emotional disruption. Withdrawal is not weakness, it is power. It is the power to protect your peace, the power to remove your energy, the power to demonstrate that keeping you in the situation is not guaranteed. When you can step back without drama, without anger, without emotional displays, you send a message that is impossible to ignore. You show that you cannot be controlled through pressure. You show that you are not afraid of distance. You show that you will not stay where respect does not exist. And Machiavelli believed that the ability to withdraw strategically was one of the strongest political tactics ever created. The fifth conflict principle is responding only after the emotional storm has passed. Most people speak in the heat of the moment. Most people react while hurt. Most people attack while angry. But when you wait, when you give yourself time, when you let emotions settle, you speak with clarity instead of chaos. You choose precision instead of violence. You choose truth instead of instinct. And people respect the person who speaks last with clarity far more than the person who speaks first with noise. The sixth conflict principle is the power of controlled consequences, not explosive consequences, not emotional consequences, controlled consequences. When someone disrespects you, you do not explode. You do not argue, you simply change your behavior. You reduce access. You reduce responsiveness. You reduce emotional investment. You reduce presence. Machiavelli understood that consequences delivered calmly create more fear and more respect than punishments delivered angrily. Because calm consequences feel intentional. They feel final, they feel earned, and they feel dangerous. The seventh conflict principle is never allowing betrayal to break your identity. Betrayal is a psychological test. It reveals people, it reveals intentions, it reveals hidden agendas, it reveals emotional maturity. It reveals who respects you and who only pretended to. Most people collapse under betrayal because they attach betrayal to their worth. But the quietly respected person does the opposite. They use betrayal as information, as clarity, as a psychological map of who belongs in their life and who does not. Machiavelli believed that betrayal is not the end of power. It is the beginning of insight, and insight is a higher form of power. Now understand this. Quiet respect does not mean people fear you. Quiet respect means people fear losing access to you. They fear disappointing you. They fear crossing your boundaries. They fear exposing their own disrespect. They fear triggering consequences they cannot control. They fear that you see through them. And the combination of these fears creates quiet authority, but authority is not the final stage. The final stage is influence. Influence is when people adjust themselves even when you are not around. Influence is when your standards echo through the room long after you leave. Influence is when people think, what would they say? How would they respond? How would they handle this? Influence is when your presence shapes behavior even in your absence. And Machiavelli believed that influence is the highest form of power because influence does not require force. It does not require aggression. It does not require argument. It is silent, psychological, invisible, and extremely effective. And now that you understand the psychology of quiet respect, and now that you have learned the projections, strategies, and conflict principles that shape it, the transformation is in your hands. Everything from this moment forward will depend on how consistently you apply what you have learned. Because respect is not built in a moment. It is built in repetition, built in discipline, built in silence, built in self-control, built in strategic behavior. And if you do this, you will become the kind of person Machiavelli believed only the rarest individuals ever become. The person people speak carefully to. The person people do not want to disappoint. The person people think twice before crossing. The person people watch even when they pretend not to. The person people respect quietly, without you ever having to ask for it. And now that you understand how influence becomes the highest form of power, you must learn the deeper mechanics behind maintaining that influence long term. Because silent respect is not something you win once. It is something you maintain every day through psychological discipline. Machiavelli believed that respect decays when consistency decays. Meaning, the moment you stop being the calm one, the mysterious one, the grounded one, the one with boundaries, people subconsciously begin to recalibrate your value. Human psychology constantly reevaluates you. People test you again. They observe whether your silence is still intentional. They observe whether your boundaries are still firm. They observe whether your emotional control is still stable. They observe whether your presence still carries weight. And the moment they sense a crack, a weakness, a collapse, they begin adjusting their respect downward. This is why the quietly respected person must cultivate a form of internal discipline that is almost sacred. A discipline Machiavelli admired more than charm, beauty, intellect, or charisma. And that discipline begins with emotional neutrality. Emotional neutrality does not mean you feel nothing. It means you do not let emotions guide your status. You do not let excitement make you desperate. You do not let anger make you reckless. You do not let disappointment make you weak. You do not let affection make you blind. You remain balanced. You remain centered. You remain grounded. Emotional neutrality makes your power predictable to you but unpredictable to others. People cannot read whether they influence you. People cannot tell whether they affect you. People cannot track your emotional patterns, and the less they can track, the more respect they give. Because unpredictability rooted in calmness is seen as strength. The second maintenance principle is identity consistency. People must always feel the same psychological energy from you. When you walk into a room, your energy should not fluctuate dramatically. You cannot be confident one day and insecure the next, silent and dominant one day and overly eager the next, withdrawn today and needy tomorrow. Machiavelli wrote that inconsistency destroys authority more than failure. Because inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion destroys trust, and trust is the foundation of respect, even silent respect. So your identity must remain stable. You must commit to being the grounded one, the calm one, the selective one, the disciplined one, the one with a centered mind. This consistency makes people feel safe around you. Safe not because you are soft, but because your behavior is predictable in its stability. The third maintenance principle is strategic detachment. Detachment is not distance. It is not coldness. It is the ability to observe people without being defined by them. It is the ability to participate without becoming dependent. It is the ability to give without shrinking. It is the ability to care without collapsing. And most importantly, it is the ability to walk away without breaking. When people sense that you can detach at any moment, they automatically treat you more carefully. They lower their aggression. They soften their tone. They become more respectful. because the fear of losing you makes them regulate themselves. Machiavelli believed that one of the strongest power tools was the ability to withdraw privileges, and your presence is a privilege. The fourth maintenance principle is calm enforcement. Boundaries mean nothing without enforcement, but enforcement must be calm, it must be quiet, it must be decisive. When someone crosses a line, you do not explain, you do not argue, you do not negotiate, you simply enforce. Less energy, less emotion. Less discussion, more action, quiet consequence, quiet adjustments. Machiavelli understood that people respected rulers who enforced rules consistently but calmly, because calm enforcement feels intentional, it feels sovereign, it feels controlled, and people respect control. The fifth maintenance principle is selective vulnerability. This does not mean you show weakness. It means you choose one or two people in your entire life with whom you are emotionally open. Machiavelli believed that rulers needed one or two trusted allies who saw their human side. Not for validation, not for emotional dependence, but for grounding, for clarity, for the release of internal pressure. If you show vulnerability to everyone, you lose respect. If you show vulnerability to no one, you lose humanity. Selective vulnerability keeps you balanced, emotionally honest, psychologically grounded, while preserving your aura of strength. The sixth maintenance principle is the discipline of silence. Silence must remain your default state. When people push you for answers, silence creates anticipation. When people try to provoke you, silence reverses power. When people seek drama, silence ends the momentum. When people try to influence you, silence forces them to reveal more. Machiavelli admired silence because silence allows others to give themselves away. And the less you reveal, the more they reveal. The seventh maintenance principle is slow decision-making. Not indecision, slow decision-making. You evaluate, you pause, you observe, you act when ready. This patience gives people the impression that your decisions are well thought out, that you are wise, that you are calculated. And calculated people are respected because their moves feel meaningful. Their actions feel intentional. Their decisions feel sharp. Machiavelli wrote that impulsive rulers lost respect quickly because people could predict their reactions and manipulate their instincts. But the ruler who moved slowly and strategically commanded fear and admiration simultaneously. The eighth maintenance principle is emotional asymmetry. Emotional asymmetry means your reactions are never equal to the provocation. When someone raises their voice, you lower yours. When someone speeds up, you slow down. When someone attempts drama, you become calm. This asymmetry psychologically destabilizes people. It makes them feel inferior in the moment. It makes them question their own behavior. It makes them reassess their tone. It makes them feel that their emotions cannot move you. And when people sense they cannot move you emotionally, they begin respecting you instinctively. And now that all these maintenance principles are clear, you are ready for the final stage of your transformation. Because the last part will reveal how to embody all of this permanently. How to create an identity that commands respect even from those who dislike you. How to build a presence that silences disrespect before it begins. How to become someone Machiavelli himself would have called a quietly untouchable leader. And now that you understand how to maintain quiet authority, you are ready for the final stage. The stage where all of these principles merge into a permanent identity. An identity that does not perform strength. An identity that does not pretend confidence. An identity that does not force power. But an identity that becomes so stable, so centered, so quietly commanding that people feel your presence long before they hear your voice. This is the highest form of Machiavellian respect. Respect earned without noise, respect earned without threats, respect earned without aggression, respect earned without speeches, respect earned simply by existing in a certain way. And this final stage begins with the principle of inner sovereignty. Inner sovereignty means you rule yourself first. You rule your emotions, your impulses, your reactions, your tone, your thoughts, your pacing, your expectations, your boundaries, your choices. You become the governor of your own internal world. And when you govern yourself, you naturally gain the authority to influence the external world. Machiavelli believed that the person who rules themselves cannot be ruled by others. And when people sense that you cannot be ruled, they respect you instinctively. The second principle of this final stage is psychological independence. Psychological independence means you do not rely on the world to feel valuable. You do not rely on validation to feel confident. You do not rely on attention to feel relevant. You do not rely on company to feel stable. You walk into every room with a sense of inner completeness. And humans respect completeness because it is rare. Most people walk into rooms seeking something: attention, approval, recognition, connection, acceptance. But when you walk in seeking nothing, people sense your independence immediately. They sense you are not competing. They sense you are not comparing. They sense you are not performing. And this makes your presence feel heavier, stronger, more distinguished. The third principle of the final stage is emotional invisibility. Emotional invisibility is the art of revealing only what you choose. You do not hide. You simply do not expose your core to people who have not earned access. You show controlled emotion, measured emotion, selected emotion. People never fully know what you love, what you fear, what you desire, what you hate, what you dream about, what keeps you awake. Emotional invisibility protects you from manipulation. It prevents others from finding leverage, and leverage is how people destroy respect. Machiavelli believed that the ruler who reveals too much becomes vulnerable to too many, and emotional invisibility is your shield. The fourth principle is strategic kindness. Strategic kindness is not fake, it is intentional. It is generous without being naive. It is warm without being exploitable. It is considerate without being desperate. It is kindness that comes from strength, not from fear, not from wanting to be liked, not from needing approval. Strategic kindness makes people respect you because it shows that you choose kindness. You are not forced into it. You are not manipulated into it. You do not use it to buy affection. You use it because it aligns with your discipline, not your weakness. The fifth principle is powerful minimalism. Powerful minimalism means you strip away everything unnecessary. You speak less. You reveal less. You explain less. You complain less. You depend less. You react less. You justify less. And your identity becomes sharp, clean, uncluttered, focused. People respect those who are not scattered. Machiavelli believed that clarity makes leaders powerful because clarity is rare. And when your behaviors become minimalist and intentional, your presence becomes sharper, more defined, more respected. The sixth principle of the final stage is controlled unpredictability. Controlled unpredictability means you remain consistent in your identity but unpredictable in your emotional reactions. People know your standards, but they do not know how you will respond to manipulation. People know your values, but they do not know what you will tolerate silently and what you will remove instantly. People know your calmness, but they do not know where your boundaries end. This controlled unpredictability creates psychological caution, and caution is respect. Machiavelli taught that the most effective rulers were predictable in their stability but unpredictable in their consequences. And this is exactly what you embody. The seventh principle is the discipline of silence-based dominance. This does not mean you stay quiet always. It means your silence has weight. It means your silence has purpose. When you pause before answering, people wait. When you hold silence in tension, people feel it. When you choose not to respond emotionally, people rethink their behavior. Silence becomes your most powerful form of communication. Silence tells people what words cannot. Silence shows strength. Silence creates fear. Silence forces reflection. Silence elevates your presence. And people respect those who can use silence skillfully. The eighth principle is selective acceptance. Selective acceptance means you do not try to be included everywhere. You do not seek belonging. You do not fight for space. You do not beg for recognition. You choose where you fit. You choose who receives your time. You choose who benefits from your presence. This reverses all power dynamics, because when you choose instead of trying to be chosen, people begin trying to earn your approval. And Machiavelli believed that reversing the power dynamic without force is the highest form of strategy. The ninth principle of this final stage is the power to walk away without hesitation. Walking away is the ultimate signal of independence. It tells people you are larger than the situation, stronger than the attachment, clearer than the emotion. Walking away makes people respect you more than winning arguments, more than proving your point, more than forcing outcomes, because walking away shows that you have options. That your value does not shrink when someone leaves, that your identity remains intact regardless of who stays. Machiavelli understood that the ability to detach from relationships, alliances, or environments was the signature trait of a powerful ruler. And the same is true for you. And now, after mastering all these stages, you become something rare. You become someone people cannot read easily, someone people cannot manipulate, someone people cannot belittle, someone people cannot shake, someone people cannot disrespect casually, someone people speak carefully to, someone people watch even in silence, someone people feel uncertain around, someone people respect without understanding why, someone who carries Machiavellian quiet power everywhere they go. And this is the final truth. Respect earned quietly is respect that lasts the longest. It is the kind of respect that does not fade when you leave the room. It follows you, it precedes you, it grows around you, it protects you. It elevates you, and it makes people think twice before crossing you. This is the psychology Machiavelli mastered, and now it is the psychology you carry within you.